All right, listeners. Well, back in the saddle again here. I'm on podcast number 2 since back from the hiatus. Here with a good buddy of mine that we've talked back and forth on Facebook. I think we did meet at a conference at Internachi or something. Maybe I can't remember.
That would have been Mike Crow's.
Was it Mike Crow's? I knew we'd talk. But good dude. Love what he brings to the table. Been in on some Zooms with him. Mr. Mike Patton. How you doing, Mike?
Doing good. How about yourself, Preston?
Good. Well, Mike, I know where you're from and kind of that sort of stuff, but not all the listeners do. Give us a little background. Where are you from and how'd you get into home inspection?
Well, we're out in northern Kentucky. Physically live in Union, Kentucky, which is about 15 miles south of Cincinnati, Ohio. So we cover all the greater Cincinnati market, northern Kentucky market, if you will. As far as how we got started, been 20 years ago now, which is kind of a surprising statement, but got tired of a corporate job with an engineering firm. Writing was on the wall. They were doing a whole bunch of different stuff. We were now the outcast, and we were looking for something else to be doing that we wanted to do for a while. And a friend of mine suggested I get into doing home inspections. Well, that kind of was a silly conversation because I just sold 2 houses recently and they just cost me money, and I thought they were just a bunch of crooks. So anyway, a little bit of that conversation, happened to be driving by a place and it said home inspection training along with the wonderful real estate. I ended up doing it. Next thing I know, I'm saying this is a great place to go. Jumped off, took off running as a home inspector. I was able to do that for a little while still at the engineering firm, had enough flexibility to do this for a bit. So we've been at it, like I said, for about, well, I guess it's, we're in our 20th year now. So that's kind of where that all came from. We do quite a bit more than just home inspections anymore. And right now we've got, I guess, as of Monday, we'll have 9 employees.
Wow, good job.
That's kind of what we're doing now.
Awesome. Well, I got a 2-part question that isn't even related, but I'm gonna throw it at you anyway. Well, I'll just break it up. Well, licensing is so you operate in Kentucky and Ohio. Are they licensed states? And we were talking a little bit in the pre-game here about, because we're both on border. I'm in North and South Carolina. Some challenges with that, but tell us about that.
Yeah, we're in Kentucky. They've been licensed since 2006. And then Ohio recently went licensed. They were supposed to have been licensed last July. And due to COVID, they pushed that down and kicked the can out until this year. And just for whoever's listening from Ohio's board, they penalized everybody that complied with the law. We lost a year, revenues, everything else, not revenues, but yet licensing fees, which is still a sticking point for me. And they're not enforcing any of their education requirements for those that didn't comply in Ohio. So I'm a little sore about that at the moment. But besides that, Ohio and Kentucky, they have very little of what's truly considered reciprocity between the two of them. So you have to go through the hoops on both sides of the river. So in our case right now, that's 5. So we're holding 10 home inspection licenses. So wow. I'm never real happy when it comes to the monetary side of that conversation. And then again, our education, they don't automatically accept each other. You got to go through the hoops. CREA, Kentucky Real Estate Inspectors Association, for example, I was real active with them for years, and they offer the only regional education that you pretty well can go to CREA and get all the border states as well as all the national associations approved education. But yet they're one of the very few places you can do that. So our licensing is on birth months, for example. So it's a moving target.
Oh, wow.
When you're trying to figure out who's coming up, who needs their CEs.
That's crazy. The birth month.
Yeah. So
it should be a drop dead date so that you.
So on the home inspection side, it's always a moving target, but yet I won't say I'm the biggest fan of licensing. I think that I came in with a jaundiced eye to it in 2006, thought it'd be a pretty good thing. Sitting here now, there's still more guys running in Ohio without a license than there are with a license. And it helps the profession, but in the early years, for the first 10 years, probably, it's basically a burden and a tax on the inspector.
Yeah.
You know how I kind of feel about it, can't you?
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel. No, let me ask you this. So in both states to take the test, are there like, I know in North Carolina, I think it's 120 hours classroom, or I think you can do it online, and then 80 hours field training, and then there's a test. Is that what do you have to do to sit for the test?
Ohio is more stringent on that. They've got, I'd have to go back and look now, but it works out, I believe, to be close to 120 hours.
Right.
And there's some mentoring requirements there that go back to the old school of you got to find somebody willing to do it for you, or you got to pay for that mentoring, if you will, which the old guard isn't really going to invite somebody in that's in their backyard to go ride with them to get that satisfied. So I've always kind of looked at that a little bit weird. And then in Kentucky's is easier than what it should be. I believe it's roughly 60 hours in the classroom. And then you have to turn in X number of mock inspections for review purposes. So it's a good system. It's not as robust as what the Ohio one is. But again, a little bit of slam on Ohio, and sorry, Ann Pettit and the rest of you, is that they've got an attorney that's doing most of their, I can't say that, the board. John Cordell runs a good board up there, and he's really trying to get it, but yet a lot of things are being approved by an attorney familiar with the real estate licensing and education. And some of the stuff they're doing with the education, kind of, you got to shake your head and say, what's that all about? Like, I've never seen a state board accept radon courses for 20 hours of their CE requirement.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there scratching my head and saying, well, that works for me, because I've got 3 licensed mitigators here in the company right now, radon mitigators. So guess who's going to count their double duty between the radon and the home inspection licenses? So that's a win for me. But when you're looking at it for credibility on the home inspection side, it makes you struggle a little bit. Kentucky, on the other hand, they're a lot more strict on what they do accept. It's probably been maybe 6 years ago now, they started accepting some of the business type courses, because they're finally recognizing if you don't stay in business, you're hurting the consumer anyway. And all these laws, as you know, and licenses are written for consumer protection.
Oh yeah. I'm really familiar with it.
You've been there recently, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I could say, but I probably get turned into my board, so I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. So, do you run into? I know you run into this, because we do too. Being on the border, and for everybody that's listening out there on the border, here's the problem. It's like you said you got 9 folks, and all right, this guy's licensed in this state and this, but this, ideally, I want every guy to be licensed in both states on everything we do, but that's not the reality. This guy failed his test on that, and this guy really doesn't want to inspect in South Carolina because he lives up on the north end anyway. So I can't make it, Yep. So scheduling becomes a little bit of a problem. And then keeping up, like you said, keeping up with all these different licenses, making sure everybody is, up to date. And with you had another curve that it's based on birth month. So it's not even like, in North Carolina, September is, you got to get that license, North Carolina license renewed at least, but it presents a little bit of a challenge. Do you have the same thing? Like when somebody wants this type of test in this state and you're like, all right, this guy can do it, that guy can't, sort of thing?
Well, we've kind of done something a little bit unique. And to your point, that's a yes statement, but yet we have started up a white label service for other inspection companies. And we show up dressed as I am now, basically. There's no logos, no nothing. So I'm here working for you. Preston says he wants a sewer scope done. Preston wants a mold sampling done. Roof, a good solid roof inspection with drones. We've got a white label service called Wingman Inspection Services. So almost any time that we end up with a conflict of who's showing up at a property, if we look at it and this guy's not certified on mold, we pull from over here and we send one of our Wingman guys over to fulfill our in-house need. And it works out quite well. That's gotten me out of a lot of trouble because, as you know, doing home inspections, you block 3 to 4 hour windows solid. Ours is 4-hour windows.
Right.
So you can't pull from an afternoon job to get to a morning job with home inspections. So that's where the one gentleman that I was referring to before that's not holding the home inspector's licenses right now, that was my way of bringing people in to train to get my home inspectors up to speed without it coming out of my pocket.
Right.
So I'm able to train on the ancillary services and different things of this nature, and it works out pretty well. So,
cool.
And again,
I like that white label. I like that. That's good, man. I like that.
And it's turned out to work very well for us. And we've got 2 guys that really run under that label, if you will, on a regular basis. One of them's licensed for everything. The other one is not. So he's kind of like, your pinch hitter. Whenever you need him, you got him. And then without beating on it, I was never a fan of drones until I got to use them on slate.
Right. I love drones. I love them.
All of a sudden, man, it was like, boom, there's no more speculation. It was, there it is, live. It was not
4K. I mean, you can zoom in. I mean, and nobody's falling off a drone. Nobody's.
I've hit a tree.
Yeah, I have to. I ran into some bushes, but still, that's a 3-pound piece of plastic into some bushes, versus 200-pound man coming down on his neck.
So what we kind of bragged about on that one is we got licensed home inspectors. So whenever you call our wingman service to do this, you're getting an inspection report. You're not getting just a glorified picture show that some others do for you, where they come out and they hand you 100 pictures and say, there's your drone inspection, and walk away. We go ahead and provide you with a roof inspection for that.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
It's like a different model. It works.
I might next time we see each other, I'm gonna dive a little deeper into that.
That'll work.
Well, Michael, the most important question I gotta ask, and you're sitting there like, I guess you're right across the river from Cincinnati. I got to know who you root for, professional and college. I'd bet $100 I know in college, because my in-laws are all from Lexington.
But you already said it there.
Yeah, you know who they pull for. Oh my gosh, they bleed blue. But go ahead. Who do you pull for, college and pro?
Well, sitting here on college wise, I'm one of the oddballs out in a lot of ways. We still root for UK. It doesn't matter if UK's around. We're going to root for UK.
Oh, yeah. UK is one of the biggest fan base. They're everywhere. I don't care. You could be, I've said this a million times, no matter where we go, like we could be in Cabo, we could be in a hut in Kenya. If there's a TV on and Kentucky's playing, there'll be a Kentucky fan.
My brother represents that well. He's out of Dallas, and I think he's been on more than one cruise liner while they're popping in a UK game, and he can vouch for that pretty quick for you. But no, we were always looking at Kentucky. It doesn't matter. One of the odd ones out, though, that if another Kentucky team is playing and UK is not part of it, I'm still pulling for the Kentucky team.
Yeah, my family can't pull for Louisville. They can't.
It's hard some days, but yet you pull for them. And then Cincinnati and Xavier.
Hi, Preston Salen here. I'm not really making anything or selling anything off of this podcast. I just wanted to recreate those conversations that you have at the bar when you're at a conference. I always thought there was like great value there. So I was like, I wish you could package that. So that's the whole idea behind the podcast that I do here. So if you guys know anybody that I should have a beer with, or all of us have a beer with, please let me know. Message me if there's somebody I should interview. If you got any value out of this, go to Home Inspection Carolina, like my page, or Inspector Crazy Pants on Instagram, Inspector Crazy Pants on TikTok, and check out my art, PrestonSalen.com. But anyway, thanks for listening. Hold up. All right. Well, we're back. Listeners, sorry, my new modem I got yesterday failed for the second time. It's supposed to be the coolest, newest, best 6G, 7G, something. I don't know, but it's already poo-pooed out on us twice. And I'm like, all right. But back with Mike Patton here. So Mike, we're talking about your UK, but you will root for other teams. How about the Bengals? Are you a Bengals fan? You're right there across from Cincinnati.
Never have been a big Bengals fan, but yet, hey, I'll go along with everybody. I just kind of roll with it. Pro sports don't follow too much, but yeah, the Bengals have their days.
There you go. There you go. Well, let's get into COVID. How has COVID changed the way you do inspections, the way you market? How's that changed?
Well, I kind of lead into that one with a little different conversation. I'd said that I was getting out of the field as of January 1 of this year. Well, I had a helper in that conversation. I got to spend 6 days, the first 6 days of the year, starting on January 1, I spent 6 days in the hospital with double pneumonia COVID.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because we had it about the same time. Yeah.
So with that said, the force to get out of the field was there. And a couple of months after that, I found that I wasn't doing the greatest in the world, and my guys are doing awful good in the field. And so basically I kind of transitioned out. I do more commercial than anything else personally now, and I've got to get somebody to step up for the commercial. But at any rate, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, that said, yeah, you're going to do what you said you was going to do. So there's a win in that. There's a silver lining to it. Now we'll jump back in on a COVID conversation. The mindset in the very beginning of that was totally different. Everybody's completely freaking out on it. I mean, everybody was scared. Media wasn't helping us any. The shutdowns, we got shut down in Ohio and Kentucky both for a hot second, until somebody came out and said that we were a not critical, but a
essential.
We're essential,
right?
Which I found to be interesting. Realtors were declared essential too, so we're off and rolling. And the trump card that we held is where we hold our pest control operator's license. That was considered essential from the get-go. So we were still holding licenses. We continued to operate. We respected everybody's wishes there for a while. You know, you're wiping every surface down, you're wearing the masks, you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. And then as that's sort of set down a little bit, now we're back into the influence again. Now, are you vaccinated? Are you not vaccinated? You're going in now people's residences again. And there's the fear factors falling back into the conversation again. So we're just trying to be respectful of everyone. And if when we roll up on a site, that's the first thing that we ask. If a homeowner is still present, do you wish for us to wear the mask? Do you not wish for it? What's the case? You get the mixed conversations. The wipe down, I guess I need to do a little bit more digging, but yet very seldom is anybody asking you to wipe the house down after you leave today, where back in the beginning, we were buying every Clorox wipe you could find in the town to go back out. We've had one individual that did go out with COVID. And part of that is we basically furloughed them for 14 days, not because we had to, but we paid them on that time out. The government says if you're less than 50 employees, you're not mandated to make that payment, but we just tried to take care of our people, and we went forward with that conversation. And we've had some people quarantined for a little bit of time due to somebody possibly being, around somebody that had it. So I'm probably not the right guy for the conversation at times, because it swings so much that we try to just do what makes sense and is reasonable. And again, it's the thing's real as it can be. I got the hospital stay. My brother in Texas, he's quite a bit older than I am, and he's got some underlying issues, but he was in the hospital and rehab, and I can't quote the exact dates, but I think it's 110 days.
Holy cow.
Wow. They put him under for 3 weeks with the
respirator or whatever.
Not the respirator, but
oxygen or ventilator.
Ventilator. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that has a big impact on your nervous system that I never knew about. So anyhow, we contend with it. We do what we're asked to do, and we've not been shut down any. Like I said, I've got some pretty strong opinions when people start asking me for a COVID ID, the COVID card. I don't know about that. And I've had some people say, you wouldn't do it. You would, it's their home and you're walking up and they ask you for your COVID card. Are you going to show it to them? I'm not so sure I'm going to. It's one of those conversations. I'll tell you, I have had it, which I have. I had the trifecta. Had the COVID, we had the shots, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm a little funny about it all. So everybody's got an opinion, and
yeah, I'm right there with you. I had all you had except the hospital stay. Fortunately, I didn't have to do that, but I've had COVID and I've had the vaccine. But I know that's a whole different conversation. I don't. I'm always one of those guys. Do whatever you feel like is good for you. But I'm a little bit, when you start telling other people what they need to do, I'm a little bit of a libertarian. So I don't know. I'll get started on that. And that could be a whole different thing. But we've kind of had the same thing. And I always tell my guys, hey, no matter where you are, I say there's a scale, right? There's somebody on this end of the scale thinks we're all going to die. And then on the other end of the scale, somebody thinks that the whole thing's a hoax. And honestly, it is a real thing. I mean, your brother's proof. Is it, the media, there's people who take political advantage of things, I think, for power. So, you don't know if you're getting the full truth. So the reality is everybody's somewhere on that scale. And you have to respect, when you're going in somebody's house, you have to respect where that person is, regardless of how, and that's what I tell them. I mean, we are going in people's house, so we have to respect.
You respect them.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
So.
And, they may have some conditions or age or something that, but we've got to, for that 2-3 hours, we've got to respect them. So that's 100%. Been pretty, that's been pretty well. And then we started, we offer the Zoom, like going over with, when it first hit, it was real scary, and people didn't want to come to the inspections. So we offer a Zoom, like we'll go over the report with Zoom. We offer it, we market it. Not a lot of people took us up on it early on. Not too many people do now, although I wonder with this Delta thing coming, become, regardless of how we feel, it's obviously, it's becoming an issue, so I don't know if we'll go back to that. Well, let me ask you this, Mike. How has COVID affected your marketing? How do you market your business?
Well, we're all over the map on the marketing conversation. As far as we did have a growth, we call them a growth manager. And there's your learning, by the way. Never give anybody the title manager until they earn it.
Yeah.
Just walking in the door, they don't get it.
Right.
But yet we did a lot of the Zoom calls, a lot of just dialing for numbers, if you will, as far as reaching out to realtors. Any hard copy marketing just ceased. We didn't do any more hard copy marketing. And a lot of ours was more of the realtor outreach to, again, and I say realtors because, when you're doing the volume we're doing, you're not doing it all just on the phone ringing from clients. You're working with agents. It was more the question of, how are you all doing?
Yeah.
What's going on in your world? How can we help you all navigate the waters? Whenever you've got a client that has a different need and it's impacted by all of this, call us directly. I'll put you in touch with the guy that's going to be doing the inspection. Y'all talk it, whatever you need to. Just like you said, you've got somebody that's got a compromised immune system and it is their residence and they can't leave the home, and your guys are coming in to do the inspection. We need you all to be really, sensitive to that conversation. Again, they are immobile for some reason or another. They've got nowhere to go. The libraries are closed.
Yeah.
Stores are closed. So there was a lot of communication that went on. And I don't know if I call that marketing or just doing business.
Yeah.
But we tried to keep those communications really clear and let it be known that tell us, inform us, and it'll work out so much better for you at the end of the day.
Right.
And we got a lot of good response from that. So we really didn't shut down any marketing, because I can't say that we were successfully doing it at that time, other than for starting to do a lot of outreaches. And then the more what I'd call the agents that we do quite a bit of business with, those were the ones we were really doing a lot of conversation with. And then the other one that came into play was where we've got multiple inspectors. We were able to say, in this environment, if we've got somebody that comes up that's got a COVID scare, has been around somebody, we can basically bench them and we'll have another inspector out. So all of a sudden, oh, you've got that many guys, so we're not going to get in the spot that the inspection gets canceled that morning because we don't have. Well, there's potential to get it canceled, but yet we'll get you covered within the same day. We may have to move something around to make it happen. And I think that really worked out to our benefit at that time, particularly on the early stages. So and then the other thing that it really did do, from a marketing standpoint, not so much, but from a control standpoint, it really helped us to regain the control of the inspection site, because agents quit telling people, bring the whole damn family over, bring the 12 children with
the uncle that did heating and air 10 years ago.
So there was a little bit of a win in that conversation, and our efficiencies went up.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, you mentioned pest control, and I know a lot of, and I'm starting to come around this way. For a long time, I had this mindset that diversifying is deworsifying. And I'd known, some guys that got into pest control or heating and air, and I'm like, I don't know that business. I mean, I understand heating and air, and I understand plumbing and stuff, but I never did that business. I don't know what the home inspection, I can tell you what the pitfalls are and what this and that, but my mind has come full set. I've been around you and a lot of other inspectors that create other verticals, and obviously home inspection does, the sad thing about home inspection, like it or not, everybody out there listening, we are kind of tied to the real estate market. When it's up, it's down. I mean, that's when people get inspections. I've tried to push that maintenance inspection, but the reality is that just goes nowhere. Most people, they get an inspection when they buy or sell a house. So, I like the idea of pest control, heating and air, because the economy, when it's 98 degrees and your air conditioner's broke, I don't care what the economy is, you're going to get that fixed. You're going to find the money too. And termites and roaches, they don't care about the economy. So tell us about your vertical or pest control, and are you thinking about any others, and how does that work? And do you have guys that do both, or is that just a completely different? I'll just leave it up to you. Tell us.
You brought up the pest control. Okay. I'd say that 85% of our home inspections get a WDIR done, MPMA 33. Okay. That's the National Pest Management Association documentation. And some of the states, I know out west, they've got their own documentation on that, state specific. But yet, when we're looking at that and you're saying no to that, in our case, let's call it 60, I don't even know now, $65, I think, is what we charge on doing a WDIR on a house. So let's just use easy numbers. And if you did 1,000 of those in a year, not chump change. We kind of like having that in our pocket. There's risk involved with it, just like there is with home inspections. But the better you train, the better off you are. And then with Kentucky, I was fortunate enough to work with another company for a period of time that enabled me to test for the PCO license. And that required 2 years with somebody else to be able to do that. But at any rate, when you've got that license, it opens up some doors for you. And like me, I've kept that door closed. It's like, I don't want to open Pandora's box.
Yeah, exactly.
That door. It's like, we know WDIRs because we've been doing them for so long. So that's been beneficial to us, and it's been a nice little segment of cash coming in. Another set of CE classes, it becomes aggravating, but that's another day. So now we hold one in Kentucky and Ohio. Now it's starting to be, because of an insurance conversation, it's making the door open up. And it's like, if I'm going to pay for a PCO's insurance, I might as well get something out of it. Right. So we're starting to look at it from an in-house perspective. We don't have too many misses throughout the year, but let's say that we have 3 accusations of misses. Well, whatever that reason may be, it's not costing me any more money to go ahead and go do those treatments.
So you are doing termite treatments?
One to start. We're not there. But yet the other piece of that is a conversation out there. What format do you do that in? And do you start that up as though you're going to go full blown pest control? So it's just like in our business, ISN. Everybody knows ISN in this business, one way or the other. You like it, you don't like it, you're transferred from it, but it's a database. So if you're going to do the pest control, you need to go ahead and say, I'm going to create, or I'm going to use a common database for that industry. I'm not going to try to make the home inspection feed the pest control side of it. So right now we're just laying the foundation for treatment. We haven't gotten there yet. Again, back to your conversation, I know WDRs. Do I want to go killing roaches in restaurants? Negative.
Yeah.
The other side of that is maybe the guy I hired that we're going to bring in for doing this, maybe he says, oh man, I love killing roaches in restaurants. Okay, now that's where you let somebody else, being the who, run your business
instead of the how. Hire the who, not the yeah.
And that's a great book.
You don't have to fit. Yeah, Dan Sullivan. Yeah, who not how. Because as entrepreneurs, we feel like we have to do it all, learn how to do it all, and the reality is we just have to hire a who that knows how to do it. We don't.
I'm embracing that more every day, and
I mean, we only have so much bandwidth, right?
I'm of the generation, you work 20 hours a day and call it a victory, where in reality, if I work 4 hours a day and I had the right who's, I'd call that a major win. Basically, not just the battle was won, but the war was won.
Right.
So that's where I'm kind of looking at.
That Abraham Lincoln quote, I think, where it's like, if I had 12 hours to chop a tree, I'd spend 11 sharpening the saw or sharpening the axe,
Right.
Which is smart. But I'm like that, entrepreneurs, and you're an entrepreneur if you own your own business. We got into this business, all entrepreneurs, because we felt like we could do something better, better, quicker, whatever than is currently being doing. But then as you grow, you systematically have to let go of that, because you have to put people, and that's hard because that goes against the entire, you know what I mean? Like,
we came into this business because we were going to be the best technician.
Right.
Reality of it, we're going to have a great company, but yet we came in with the technician mindset, which great, wonderful. We did a good job. But yet years ago, I started to fill out an application, never turned it in for a franchise. And they had the question there that says, do you wish to be the best inspector you can be or have the best inspection company? And that's a fork in the road. You really got to look at that. And I'll go back to that. And that's been 17, 18 years ago. I looked at that application, but that was the true fork in the road that made me start really thinking, I need to build a business. I don't need to pour everything into me. I need to pour it into the business and have a good, solid business and good employees. And it's been a long time coming. Most of my employees have been hired in the last, 5 years ago, I had 2 inspectors plus me. So we're getting there. But one of the funniest things when we bring that up, I haven't read this book yet, but if there's ever a cover that gets your attention, I want to hold it up there for you. I don't know if that's right reading or wrong reading for you.
Ultimate blue. Hold it up again. Ultimate blueprint reading. It went small on me again. What's it say?
Ultimate blueprint for an insanely successful business. But here's the part that makes me want to pick this up and read it. Great operators get tired.
Yep.
Great business owners get rich. And that's by Keith Cunningham. But yeah, those two.
Let me write that down. Keith Cunningham. I'm gonna look.
Keith Cunningham.
Is it on Audible by any chance? I'll find out.
I'm pretty sure it is.
When I say read books, I listen. Everything is on Audible because I'm Windshield University, man. We're always driving.
But when it spelled that out, great operators get tired, great business owners get rich. I said, yeah, that's for me. I need to read that one because I'm tired. I don't want to. Yeah,
well, that's it. When I was an inspector, I thought I was going to be the best inspector. We all feel like we're the best inspector, right? I mean, and you are. I mean, you probably studied your craft. Yeah, you take a lot of pride. But then, after a couple of years of doing 3 inspections a day, staying up all night writing reports, I'm like, this sucks, man, because, I'm not going on vacation. I'm always tired. I'm always working. And I'm like, I got tired and I finally realized, I got to hire somebody. But now I struggle with it with the marketing because I went over to the marketing side and I just did all the marketing, and then I got to a point where, I can't scale. You can't scale yourself. That's the thing. And I'm Mike, I'm struggling with giving over control of that because that was my baby. A lot of people, had struggled with hiring that first inspector because they did it, and then, it does get easier. I mean, later, but it's hard in the beginning. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we kind of went away from the topic there, but
yeah, sorry about that.
the real thing is finding a happy medium between the ability to turn it over and the ability to turn it over, but still hold accountability.
Right.
Don't wash your hands of it and walk away.
Right.
I'd made that mistake with, well, we'll just leave it there with a recent employee that we had to let go. Was they kept pushing back on the accountability, and rather than me just being the smart man, it was path of least resistance to continue to let it run. Well, it just bled me out on money. It didn't have any benefit to it until I actually sat down after a couple of mentors, I will say, sat down with me and just about, I think if they could just punch me in the face, they'd punch me in the face and said, wake up, you're bleeding out and this dude's doing nothing for you.
Yeah.
What are you waiting on? And it was a hard face-to-face conversation there. But again, you can't just turn over the keys.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But anyway, back on the termite conversation, we're going to be running with that. I'm pretty well, yeah, I don't know if you know Gary Sloan. We had a conversation.
Yeah, down in Atlanta. Yeah, I know Gary.
And Gary threw out because I wasn't doing something. He says, "You're just scared." What? What do you mean I'm scared? He says, "You got the equipment, you got this, you got that." And he says, "You're not doing anything with it." He said, "You're just scared."
And it made you mad at first, but then you start simmering on it. You're like,
I got turned the table on him on that conversation not too long ago. He was like, "Oh, I don't think I like this."
You're scared. You're scared.
But it was kind of funny on that one. And sometimes that is it. We operate out of fear, or we don't operate out of fear. So when you're talking about, I know home inspection, so I'm going to stay in my lane.
Right. Or comfort zone. I want to stay in my comfort zone.
They're going to tell you stay in your lane. Blake Williams, not too terribly long ago, back in the spring, I guess it was, he was asked the question, "What are you going to do next?" Because Blake's as wide as you can get. Right. He's doing everything out of Texas. And he said, "Get out here on all these inspection sites, the Facebook, whatever your social media, and everything they tell you can't do as a home inspector, that's the next thing you're going to go do."
Yeah, he's killing it. Blake, he's out of Dallas originally, but I know he's spread out now, isn't he? Is he? I've interviewed him.
He's pretty wide across the state. He'd be an excellent interview.
I interviewed him a while, but I need to interview him again. He's spread out pest control. Does he do heating and air and stuff like that too? Yeah.
I don't know if he's gotten there yet, but he's got a big concierge program going.
Yeah.
And Delta, I think, is running that for him, pretty much the whole entity. But he's an ideal person to talk to on scale. I mean, scale, he's got an accounting background, a very interesting guy, but yet he can take you down that road of, is it profitable? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you looking at it? And like with us, I'd mentioned that we do a white label business. Go back 6 years ago, would you have even considered bringing in a plumber or anyone else to do a sewer scope for you? No. Was that even a conversation? No. About 6 years ago is when it started being a conversation, I guess. What did I do? I turned my nose up to it and I said, "Dude, there ain't no way I'm pulling a toilet." No.
That's exactly what's going through my mind too.
Shut it down. And now we make good revenue off of doing that, doing sewer scopes. And again, the naysayer said you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. So when we're talking about our ancillary services, and then the drones, that's an ancillary service that we offer now. True to God home inspectors doing the drone inspections and giving you a roof inspection that you can either incorporate into yours, you can pull the photographs out and use it however you want to. But yet we do some inspections for some companies here in the area that they're hardcore, brother. I mean, they've got some expectations that I'm actually surprised that we're exceeding their expectations to a certain point. I'm very proud of our guys on the quality of what they're delivering. So the ancillaries, I'm all for it, and like pest control. And I would have to tell you that if you looked at my current org chart, it looks like this big. Well, my 5-year projection of where I really want to go, it's about that wide. So rather than staying focused only, I'm not chasing the squirrels.
Right.
I was really bad about chasing squirrels, man. It sounds like a great idea. Let's go do that.
Yeah,
okay, what are we going to do next?
I'm head squirrel chaser.
Man, world, what do they say that saying something about the roads paved with flat squirrels or something like that?
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's where I was at to a large degree. And the last couple of years have really got me focused on that. And the Greg Bryant been instrumental in a lot of this. He really has been in picking your path and going forward. Yeah. And that's where I've got associates of mine that, man, they will chase that squirrel and then they'll tell you how bad that was, but they didn't go into it prepped of, let's do some research on that first before we go spend $30,000 on specialty drones.
Right.
Before we go spend, yeah.
Yeah. And just because you try something one time and it doesn't work, doesn't mean, was
the special sauce wrong that day?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe just rework it and try it a couple of times. I mean, the reality is you fail your way to success. I mean, you figure, think about it. The most, they didn't, the light bulb did not work the first time. It was 10,000 failures before it worked. So,
and, most of us think of ourselves as lone wolves out there, that we can't share our business with other competitors in our own market, where I can say that I got a text group on here that's I think 10's the max that you can have on it, but it's the best resource I've got in my pocket at any time. When there's a question asked technically related, I'll get you an answer. And it's guys that cover as far south as Clarksville, Tennessee, up to Dayton, Ohio, all across the state of Kentucky and Southern Ohio. But yet they're all seasoned inspectors, and they were always for this aspect of it. And then other resources have become the business resource and the, what wording am I looking for here? The collaboration
or synergy or something like
is just so much bigger, because you never thought of that. What do you mean you can't do that? What do you mean you need to be doing that? And they'll tell you from their failures, but yet I got it right over here, but man, you're really going that direction where I failed before. You may want to revisit that and swing it back this direction. And it's like, hey, that's a novel concept. Let's do that. And see, like with our businesses right now on the ancillaries, I've got a radon mitigation company also, All Clear Radon. And that one's a learning curve for me right now. We took off big with that one, and then all of a sudden we've just flattened out, and part of it's market. But yet that one's, we're all sitting back there looking at that saying, somebody got a roadmap for this, because we've lost our way somewhere. We're over there in the rough stuff, we're not on that hard paved road moving down the road at a good pace at the moment. So that's something I got to go back and revisit. And from collaboration again, I'm going to be reaching out to other people saying, hey, are y'all something?
Who, not how.
So,
good stuff.
From an ancillary standpoint, I'll tell you, go as wide as you can possibly stand it. But yet, if you're the home inspector, you can't keep burdening yourself with it. We were talking about our CEs earlier. If you look at all the CEs, I've got 2 different state licenses. I've got radon mitigation. I've got pest control. And when you start looking at all the hours that you're sitting in CE classes, if you're a solo inspector, you're eating up a bunch of time sitting out there getting educated.
Oh, and like 2 weeks.
Spending a lot of money.
Probably 2 weeks a year. I added up one time. I was like, I'm in some form of class for 2 solid weeks. I mean, they're broken up over time, but It's like 2 weeks of stuff. Well, here's go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. Go ahead.
A real basic question for the listeners, but you're really experienced at this. So a lot of guys out there, price shoppers, switching gears a little bit, first thing they ask, how much you charge for, which I hate because they're assuming they're commoditizing home inspections.
They are.
How do you, for all the listeners out there, what's the best strategy to handle price shoppers?
What's the business way or what's the ego way?
The business way.
I'm going to tell the ego way first. Several years ago, when I was still answering calls myself, we went through a period of time that it all fell back onto me no matter what. And my answer was, wait a minute, you're just shopping for price. I don't have time for this. Here's the phone number of the guy you need to call.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That was egos talking.
Yeah.
I probably wrapped up 90% of those calls though.
Yeah, I can see that because I would be immediately like, whoa, wait a minute. Why don't you want,
I was like, I don't have time for you then. If we're price shopping, I don't have time to talk. Here's the number of the guy you need to call. Well, why'd you give me that? He's the cheapest guy in town and you get the cheapest inspection. I got to go. Whoa. That's not the business way to approach that.
Yeah.
But yet with our folks, we basically go back on quality and time. We've been in the market for 20 years. Right now, you can look us up. And I think last time I looked, we're at 617 Google reviews.
Nice.
My IT guy, my wonderful web guy, he threw something out there, man, I'm still uncomfortable with it, but it's out there. He says, you are the most reviewed in Greater Cincinnati. Okay. So all of a sudden that's on my website. I'm the most reviewed something. And it's like, okay. And then somewhere there's I don't even know where it's at now, but anyway, I digress. We go back on quality and the fact that it's one-stop shop. Well, yeah, you can go elsewhere, but yet you got to bring in all these other people. You did say that you wanted the home inspection. That's why you initially called us. You did need the termite. You do need all that can be taken care of in that 4-hour window while we're there. There's no other calls to be made, no other, basically one-stop shop does it all and we're here for you. And that's really the closing. My wife Lori's not in the business very deep. She stays on the fringe. She kind of likes staying out of the daily routines, if you will. But hers is she says, you got to let them know, we've got you. We've got you taken care of. And there's so much that comes from that on the tail end of it. And when the call center is answering, okay. I don't care how hard we work that one, but I've got 2 in-house ladies that take care of us now. And they just do a wonderful job. And I think that we sit somewhere 90 plus at all times on our close rate, which I would have told you I could do it better. I think I'd learned a few times, a few years ago that I probably suck at it. And the inspector that's rolling down the road, it's a hot July day and you're writing on your Post-it notes, you got a pad over here and you're writing on it, rolling down the road. What was that address again? Oh, hang on a minute.
I've written it in the dirt. I've been in a crawl space and I've written it in the dirt.
Camera, I hope, but yet, your efficiency goes down. And the fact that you even remember you talked to that person to make the next phone call to get that set up or whatever, you're looking for that scrap of paper. Because I'm not how to say this, organized. I am not that guy. Post-ums, I need to lose them because I will lose them. And I'm really bad for jotting down, a phone number. I'm bad for jotting down something on an address and you pick it up 2 hours later and it's like,
what is this? I forgot. What is this?
So that's one advice I would tell anyone on the price shopper side of it is sell them on quality. Don't run your competition down. Don't basically keep it all in the positive uphill and let them know if we can be of assistance, please let us know. If it's a no, thank you, we're going away. We do callbacks on that. So at the end of the day, we got to know on these 3, call them back. No, we still haven't scheduled with anyone. Well, would you like to? Yeah, let's go ahead and schedule. You're the only ones that's answered the phone all day. One of those conversations. So the worst thing though that you can do is start running down your competition. Don't even go there. And like in this area, you probably do the same thing. if we can't get to you, which that's very, very unusual anymore, we can usually get you in there because of the staff that we keep, but always have backup guys. You know, if you know that, like Indiana, we're right up against Indiana. I don't like working in Indiana. I've let my license go over there twice. I've escrowed them twice. No, thank you. One of my guys lived in Indiana. Can I get my Indiana license? Go for it. Within 6 months, he's like, you care if I let this license go? And the just in that one little area, the real estate transactions are so brutal. But right now, I've got people that I know, and whenever they call in, they say, I need an Indiana. Yeah, call Alex, call whomever it might be. They'll take good care of you over there. We don't service it.
Right.
So always be the resource for the people, if nothing else.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, they're more interested in why you're helping them instead of hanging up on them.
Right. No, good stuff. Well, Michael, I got one more question before the lightning round, which is be fun. Last, like, serious question. Then we're gonna have some fun real quick. And I know I've held you up, and
Fun scares me. Fun scares me.
Yeah, we had a little internet trouble, so I know I've held you up. You probably got stuff to do today. Last home inspection question. This is a throwback from my old question, but I'd love to ask it to you. If you woke up tomorrow in a parallel universe, still have all your skills, everything, but you woke up in a brand new area, but it's the same kind of population and everything. You have all your room and board taken care of, but you don't know anybody, and you just got to start over. And let's say you got $5,000. What would you do tomorrow morning if that happened? Like, you've got a room and board, all that's taken care of, equipment, all that, but you got to get your name out there and you got to get some business with $5,000. What would you do?
Well, one, I'm not going to go do a home inspection. I'm going to go hire a home inspector. I think that truthfully, if I had today's knowledge, which is what you're describing to me, I would go after home inspectors and bring them on board, get out here and start beating the bushes, getting them work, as opposed to me going back in and being the home inspector and trying to get my name out there. No, I want to go ahead and get ahead of that game. I would prefer to have never done a home inspection and build a business from day one. We'd be somebody to contend with today, 20 years later, if we had started with duplicating myself 5 times over. You'd still be building that out. So that's probably not the answer that you hear very often, but it's more or less, I don't want to be the best home inspector today. I want to have the best home inspection company. Back to that fork in the road conversation we were talking about before. So it would be solicitation of existing home inspectors to build my business out.
Good, man. You're right. I haven't had that answer, but that's wisdom, man. That's wisdom. Yeah, it's going from a technician mindset to a business owner mindset, really. Mm-hmm. And because the thing is, and there's nothing wrong, everybody who's a one-man shop, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, some days I wish I could go back to that, man, because there's a lot of problems I wouldn't have if I was a one-man. But
I caught the bug though the first time from moving from that and letting go, because I'm a control freak. I didn't want to let go. I really didn't. But the first time I was sitting on the beach, my feet in the sand and drinking a beverage, and my phone dinged, and I looked it up. And at that time, whenever I got a deposit on a bank account, it binged. And I looked, and there was a day's transactions while I'm sitting there with my feet in the sand, and my bank account grew instead of diminishing with me sitting on the beach.
Yeah.
That's when I said,
you don't have to be burning calories to make money. I mean, that's the thing I realized in the beginning. It was like, the only way we make money is if I'm burning calories.
Off my back, sweat off of my back is the way we're going to make $1. And it's just been, it's been eye-opening. And I will tell anybody out there, going it alone, go at it, but learn your business, not just the technical side of it, but learn the business. I'm still struggling with numbers. I'm still struggling with internal numbers, learning what they really mean to me, how to apply them. That's something that if somebody told me, if you're going to go out on your own, park it, go in and understand a chart of accounts, what that means to you, understand your numbers before you go forward at all, other than, yeah, I can make enough money to cover what I need. I'm going to go out. That would be the first thing I'd tell you, is understand your numbers, understand the business aspect, and learn to talk the business.
And I'll add something to it, and I don't mean to extend, but I struggle with that too, with the numbers and stuff. And even with my wife, and, like talking to other people about your numbers, because my whole life was like, you don't talk about money in front of people, or, you don't, that's private, that's like politics or something, that's just something we talk about in the privacy of our own home. We don't talk about that to other people. And it's just hard for me to like, but the reality is, I mean, everybody has the same struggles you have. And then you can learn from, other people, like, hey, I mean, and it's math. I mean, it's math, and math doesn't lie. I mean, math is universal.
It hurts.
It does. But once you get over that, you realize, hey, I'm not running at the margins I need to on this, or I'm spending way too much on this. This is not sustainable, right. And you start to realize that. But I'm struggling there, but
it keeps you from lying to yourself.
Exactly. All right. Well, Michael, let's have some fun. Lightning round.
Oh.
All right. So this is a game called This or That. Ginger or Marianne?
Marianne.
Football or basketball?
Basketball.
Christmas Vacation or Elf?
What was that?
There are two movies. Christmas Vacation, with Chevy Chase, you see every year, or Elf.
Christmas Vacation.
Animal House or Caddyshack? Caddyshack. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
It'd be my dad.
Oh, good one.
He's been gone for about 10 years, so I'd say
lost mine in 2016. All right, Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Would you rather make a phone call or text?
Who am I calling? Phone call.
Apple, like Apple or Android? iOS or Android?
Apple.
Beach or mountains?
That's hard. Beach.
Careful on this one, because your wife might watch it. Most important in a partner, intelligent or funny?
Intelligent. You can be funny when you're intelligent.
There you go. They're kind of the same, I think. People who are funny are actually usually pretty intelligent. You got to be. Let me go to that one last. You go for hot coffee or iced coffee?
Hot.
Would you rather read a book or an ebook? I think I know the answer because he held it up.
With time allowing, I'd rather read the book.
Me too.
Daily grind, it's the audibles.
Yeah, well, I like the Audible, but I can't get into ebooks. I like real books too, because I can go. There's funny. I listened to a lot of books, and then I'll go back and get the real book because there were quotes and stuff that I wanted to highlight and remember. And the most important one, toilet paper, over or under?
Over. That's not a question.
I've had one person out of like 50 say under, and I'm like, who are these strange people? I mean, like beard or mullet, All right. So what is the strangest thing you or one of your guys have ever found on a home inspection?
The strangest.
Remember, it's a G-rated show.
Yeah, we won't talk about those.
Man,
that's tough. Because the funny part of that the question is you become kind of to where nothing phases you. It's really kind of tough to say.
Or just craziest story. Anything?
Craziest story, very short version, had a lady that at that time I considered to be older, in her late 60s probably, insist on going underneath of a manufactured home. And I said no. She caught me going in. She said, I told you I was going. She proceeded to come in, and I told her right off the bat, and it's been years ago, and I said, general rule, first set of beady eyeballs, everybody's for themselves, and I'm gone. So she proceeds to come in, and it's double wide sitting underneath the roadbed out in Bracken County, and it's raining and there was water running everywhere. We go up back in there and she's probably 15 feet behind me at this point, and all of a sudden she is screaming like you've never heard somebody scream before in your life. And I'm pinned underneath a piece of steel trying to roll around to see what she's doing. Hit her with the flashlight and wish I had a camera. And there's this big gray thing down in the front of her jacket collar and over her face. And I'm like, oh, Lord, help us. What's got her? And then you're still sitting there and it seems like a half an hour later. And she says, she starts that laugh that's not any more comfortable than the scream was. And she tells me, as she puts her hand over her face, that I'm paying you enough money. You can see me without my wig on. She'd been going through chemo and her wig had fallen down.
Sorry about the chemo part.
Oh, well, yeah, that's all good laughter, because I just sat there and looked at that lady like, you just took 10 years out of my life, lady. But that's one of those stories that you'll never forget.
Yeah.
But it was just flat out, I'm paying you enough. You can see me.
I like her line though. I like her line. I'm paying enough.
Yeah, it's just like everybody else. You've seen everything under the sun, and doing sewer. No, we won't go into that one. Sewer scopes, you see stuff you don't ever think you would ever see.
Yeah. I'm imagine we'll have that conversation at a bar. You know, we've had probably 5 or 6 people over the period of 20 years put their foot through a roof. I'm not talking about the home inspector. I'm talking about the buyer who insists on following. You know, we've had it. I mean, it happens about every 2 or 3 years. I mean, we tell them, you know, but but what can you do?
You tell them stay off your ladders. You tell them stay out. And then same conversation. I had a fellow that had lost his vision come into an attic behind me, and I didn't know he was there. I had my head stuck in an air handler, and just about scared another 10 years out of my life. And you know, he basically let me know, just because I can't see doesn't mean I don't know what I'm still doing. And I did a lot of inspections for the guy before and after that. Martin was a good dude. He was funny as he could be, but who expects the blind man get in the attic with you?
Wow.
Didn't think I had to tell him to stay off my ladder.
There's so many jokes that come to mind, but I won't say them because they'll get me in trouble. All right. Last question of the lightning round. This is one. Finish these song lyrics. All right, you ready? And I picked this out for you. It's lonely Kentucky back road. Can you hear it? I've loved you much too long. My love's too strong to let you go. Never knowing what went wrong. What? Can you finish it or tell me the name of the song?
It's Kentucky Rain.
Yep.
I can't finish it, but I'll just throw it in there. Anything to do with Kentucky, either you finish it with a horse or bourbon. Which one you want?
There you go. Yeah, I was like, all right, so I'm trying to make the podcast more fun. So I got this from another podcast, finish song lyrics. So I always try to get something that has something to do with what the person does. So I was trying to get Kentucky in there somewhere. And I was like, Kentucky songs, and the Elvis one kept coming up over and over, but you get points. You get points. Well, awesome.
One anyway.
There you go. Well, Michael, thank you so much for spending your time. Gold nuggets you've dropped. If somebody wanted, and you don't have to give your cell number out. Some people have done that. But first of all, everybody who listened to this or watched it on YouTube and you got value out of it, go give Michael some love. Go to his website or his Facebook page and give him some likes. I think that'll help you. Where can they find you, Mike?
Well, I don't even think we said the business name, but why not? It's aahomeinspection.net. So if you go out on the web, you'll find us at aahomeinspection.net. Facebook, same conversation, AA Home Inspection. We're out in Northern Kentucky, once again, servicing Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati markets. So that's really about where you can go to show the love. I think that if I actually ask somebody, we got a Twitter account. I don't know a thing about it. We got a couple of different accounts out there that they tell me that do quite a bit of business. So you can show us love anywhere you want to on the web, I guess.
Yeah, same. I have Lauren who's 24, and she's got stuff, social stuff I don't know about, but I'm trusting.
We're there, but Facebook is probably the one the messenger pops up on a regular basis here. So Always feel free there. I know that I answer on that on a regular basis, and you can find us through the various different sources out there. So there you go.
Awesome. And can they message you through the Facebook or on the thing there?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Michael, we appreciate your time. Listeners appreciate it. And also, if you got value from this and you see Michael at a conference, buy him a beer. You owe him one. So appreciate your time, Michael. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.